Night one in the books. Slept like a baby because yesterday was very difficult. Definitely front loaded all the elevation in the first 5 miles. It was tough. 0830. Slept in a little bit. Whole body hurts. Nothing a little grunt candy won't fix. Really looking forward to breakfast. If you've never had it, the Mountain House granola is the absolute best thing to take out into the woods. It's meant to be a cereal, so you just add cold water to it, you know, like eat it like cereal, but I like to add boiling water to it and make it more like an oatmeal. It softens up the blueberries, and I add peanut butter to it, and it's just fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to that right now. Gotta get my butt moving, pack up camp. Rain is expected today, so the more I can hike not in the rain, the better. So nothing got into my stuff last night. I'm very happy about that. There was a field mouse that came up to me while I was eating last night. It's a big one too, like right here as I was sitting on my bear barrel. And man, he was just bold as heck. I couldn't believe it. So I just hung my cup and everything up in the tree there. But it's definitely time for breakfast. Definitely time for coffee. Get something in my tummy so I can take about 9 million milligrams of ibuprofen, or as I said, grunt candy. But yeah, the signal panel, it's by the Hidden Woodsman. You know, if you like good gear, the Hidden Woodsman makes fantastic stuff. It's meant to be a signal panel. You know, you can strap this to your pack. You can hang it in a tree and just mark your campsite. So if you're going off to get water, you can come back and, you know, see your campsite better. I brought a lot of food items for dinner meals. I brought Nor pasta sides. You know, pour boiling water in, let it sit for 20 minutes, and it's perfect. And 2.5 servings per container, 250 calories per container per serving. So you know you're in the 650 range for calories there, and that's for dinner. For lunches, I brought Idahoan potatoes, a couple different varieties there. And for both of these, I brought a big bag of beef jerky to put in because I realized these are pretty much just carbs. So mince up a whole bunch of beef jerky to put into there to add protein. And that is lunch and dinner. I brought Starkist tuna creations. I brought 3 of these as just extra. You know, if I ate lunch and, you know, it's in between lunch and dinner and I'm just, you know, starving today, I can whip one of these out. I brought 3 of them. They're tuna, spicy rice and beans. 160 calories, but 10 grams of protein. They're easy. You don't have to heat them up. You just eat them right out of the bag. Mountain House Adventure Meals granola with milk and blueberries freeze-dried. My absolute favorite breakfast to be in the woods. Doesn't matter if I'm hiking or just car camping, like no matter what. Putting boiling water in here, heating it up, softening up the granola into like an oatmeal, and the blueberries, you know, they soften up, and putting peanut butter in here is hands down my favorite breakfast. 500 calories per container, you know, obviously some more with peanut butter. For the field, I like to bring little Skippy peanut butter packets, 7 grams of protein, 190 calories. So, you know, you're looking at 690 calories for breakfast there. You cannot beat that at all. You just can't beat that. For the trail for a snack, I brought, not freeze-dried, but because they kind of turn into dust if you put them in like a pocket, but actually dehydrated bananas there to help with cramps. Ate a handful of bananas before I went to bed last night. And I have some Built Bars. Didn't really know how strenuous a trip this was going to be. I need to look and do the math. I'll put it up on the screen. You know, from 0 to 5 miles, it probably wasn't 2,000 feet of elevation. I mean, I'm not sure, but it was just nonstop up. You know, like there's really no dipping down for a little bit and coming back up. I'll put it on the screen, the profile the elevation profile from all trails, you just see the first like 5 miles is yellow graded, just straight up. And then the rest of the trip, there's some peaks. There's going to be some peaks here. We're only adding 400 feet of elevation here and there, but that first bit, I mean, just freaking brutal. So that whooped me yesterday, and I think that's why I was so hungry. But let's stop rambling. Let's get some breakfast and pack up camp, and then we'll get the show on the road. All right, guys. Camp all packed up. Ready to go. Leaving no trace that I was ever here. Yesterday, got to about 6.48 miles. So we're looking like about 24 and a half, 25 more to go. Let's get back on this trail and GTFO. Got plenty of water. It doesn't look like water's going to be quite as bad of a slog as yesterday. I coasted into camp last night with I would say maybe a half liter of water. I consumed about 5 liters yesterday, maybe 4 3/4, which, from 11 to about 7:30, straight hiking, all uphill. Today we'll be crossing, or summiting, I guess, the tallest point of the trail today, Black Balsam Knob. Little elevation getting up to it. From what I've heard, it's a really beautiful grassy bald. So they say the section of the trail I'm coming up on will just be gorgeous. So already some great views. Looking through that there. The bees and flies and bugs are out hardcore right now. I assume because it's oh, look at that. Man, this state would be the best state in the union if it weren't for the commies. Anyway, the bugs are flying about. I just know at some point I'm gonna get stung by something. They are buzzing hard, I guess, because all of the moisture hasn't been cooked off all of these flowers yet, so they're trying to get that nectar. So stand by for animal contact. But speaking of animals, it was one of the sections I wasn't recording, and it happened so quick that I couldn't even, push the record button and y'all see. But I stirred up a group of 3 wild turkeys. Not the alcohol. I am sober. But actual wild turkeys. They were just gobbling away as I turned a corner. And yesterday, lots of chipmunks. Anytime I pause and wait 30 seconds, a chipmunk will come out and see what's up. Lots of squirrels barking at me at camp yesterday in those hemlocks. I'm sure it's just squirrel heaven. And like I said last night, a very large field mouse came up and tried to break bread with me. I let him know that was not going to happen. That's good thing you got a bear barrel in the Shining Rock Wilderness. It is required. But that bear barrel really keeps the little critters from getting out of your food just as much as it does a bear. That's about it for animal encounters so far. Not too many people around the campsite last night. It was at a junction. I'll throw up on the screen. Got a little confusing at a couple spots, which people had warned about on Facebook and forums and stuff that I had read. A couple trails intersect in there, and you got to pay attention to make sure you're not diverging. But really nice area, kind of flattens out in the higher elevation, and made for a lot of good campsites. There were people around. I could hear some chit chat until about the time I was headed to bed. Oh, that sun is warm. Oh, it does not get more beautiful than this, guys.
Oh, I wish I would have camped right here. Another half a mile from camp would have been perfect. Oh my God. Blackberry, or no, blueberries in there. Probably Bear Central, but you know, a lot of human activity in this area. But it is gorgeous. And I'm just so surprised the sun is so warm on your skin. But the air is just so cool. So cool. That's what I like. I like a nice warm sun and cool air. It's kind of like being at the beach, you know, before the dread heat of summer. But, you know, you're at the beach, the sun is hot, the sand is hot, but that cool sea breeze, that still doesn't have anything on this fresh mountain air. God, is it beautiful. Yeah. I think from now on, when I find, quote, quote, my campsite, I might walk another quarter of a mile. Because that spot right there would have just been perfect. So fortunate to live in an area that I can pretty easily get to both the beach and the mountains. Where I live is almost 3 hours to Wilmington and 3 hours to the mountains. You can hear what I was mentioning with all the flying insects, bees and flies and stuff. Just buzzing about, getting all these flowering plants. Such a good feeling. Being in a place where, you know, nature also likes to be. If you ever wanted to know why I hike, this is it. You know, watching this on YouTube, watching this on TV, it just does not do it justice as compared to being here in the moment. You know, having these views, being in a place you've never been, and just seeing something so gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Oh, it is thick. Sorry if my trekking poles are in the way. They kind of help me move some of the brush out of the way so I can kind of tell where my feet need to be. I'm not catching rocks, tripping and busting my ass or my face. But man, this is the life. Need to move up here. You know, the novelty might wear off eventually, but just being in a place where, you know, it can be maybe 75, 80, but the air just be a crisp 60 degrees. Look at that. I want to shut up. Fresh, wild blueberries just everywhere. Oh my God, that's so good. I'll leave some for the bears. They deserve it. Although, they get to live in this year round. This has been an awesome trail so far, but there is absolutely no doubt this is the nicest part of it so far. View-wise, you know, temperature-wise. God, just a couple of those blueberries in my mouth. Such a good flavor. It might be because, you know, it's not bought by a grocery store. You know, wild, natural. But I imagine those blueberries have something to do with why a bear can is required. You know, depending on the time of the year, it may not matter how much human activity is in that area. Those bears might get after it and look at you funny while they're doing it. Ooh, blackberries mixed in. Yeah, I can feel some of their briars. Those wild blackberries. Here we are. Grassy Cove top. I guess this is the Grassy Cove. Little detour off the Art Loeb Trail. Not even a quarter of a mile. All the mountain laurel, blueberries and whatnot. A little too tall to see over. Let's see what we can get with this. Nice little detour. I don't see the actual USGS marker anywhere, but this is the peak. Just a couple hundred feet down from Grassy Cove top. On the side here, just absolutely stunning. Just gorgeous. You have to be here to see it. I can't help it, guys. Blueberries galore here. I stopped to take a sip of water, and it's, you know, you take one little blueberry just as like a little nice treat. Oh my God, they're so good. And they're just everywhere. I don't really feel bad. Ah, they're so good. It's a little hard to see in a lot of places where you're putting your feet. You know, the bushes, you know, the berries and everything come right up to the trail. I mean, you barely even feel like there's a trail. Semi bushwhacking. And some of those rocks, you know, might be down 1.5 feet. And that's why I kind of use my trekking poles, you know, in those really tight spots to kind of push through, and it gives myself a little 1.5 feet, 2 foot like viewing area to see where I'm putting my feet. You know, right here, perfectly fine. You can see all the little rocks and, you know, foot placements. But, you know, when the bushes come into the trail, you can't see that. And that's, to me, that's just break ankle territory. Like I said, this is a little side detour off the Art Loeb Trail. It's really no better, no worse. It is a little bit more of a straight line. The Art Loeb Trail goes around the Grassy Cove top, so you don't get to see the peak, you know, Art Loeb Trail. But there is like a little side quest trail, and it goes right across the top, like right across the peak. Like I said, I didn't see the actual USGS marker, but I didn't want to go bushwhacking for it. Jeez. But this little side quest trail that doesn't even have a name, I don't think, you know, just runs you across the top, you know, so you can actually summit the peak. And it'll link back up with the Art Loeb Trail down there somewhere. It might actually be right there. I think those are trash cans and a little bit of a trailhead. Oh, I was right. We were way up there. Descended about 300 feet, 300-ish. Just looking on the map to this little junction here. Everything that I've been in has been the Shining Rock Wilderness. A couple messages here. Be safe, look out for bears. Don't let your day hike turn into a night rescue kind of thing. Started way over here yesterday at the Daniel Boone Scout Camp. Went up, kept going up, and then came down, and we're now down here. You know, junction of a few trails here, and I'll keep going. It was beautiful up there. Blueberries everywhere. Past a young lady, she looked like she was collecting some. I don't know if she's gonna, you know, eat them on the trail or if she's taking them home, you know, make a pie or something. I don't know, whatever people do. But it is just gorgeous up here. I keep saying it, but nice warm sun, but that nice cool air. Jeez, it feels good. So yeah, that was my little side quest trail. This is the actual Art Loeb Trail. Instead of going up to the top of that grassy cove top, it kind of skirts around it and slowly descends to where the side quest, you know, really took a down, you know, straight down kind of approach. Anything worth doing is going to be difficult, you know. There is no elevator to the top of these mountains. You got to work for it, and once you get to the top, you know, it sucks while you're doing it, but once you get to the top, you know, you realize why you did it. Just gorgeous. Yeah, I almost made a mistake there, guys. That's some sort of gravel Forestry Service road. Actual Art Loeb Trail is kind of hidden here in the bushes. Kind of a cool entrance though. I guess you could, I don't know if there's parking or anything down that way. I guess you could come up that Forestry Service road. You know, if you just wanted to get to this area of the Art Loeb Trail, you know, do a day hike up, you know, to Black Balsam, or, you know, maybe just a short couple hours up to the top of that one. You could maybe drive up that. I don't know if there's parking anywhere. That'd be a cool little day trip. I mean, it kind of sucks because I do live 3 hours away. So driving 6 hours round trip for a day hike is a little ridiculous. But I mean, if you were driving 3 hours up here instead of a day trip, you could, you know, you could kind of car camp. I mean, you can't get your car into here or anything, but you know, if there's parking on the side of that Forestry Service road anywhere, you could park there and, you know, hike the mountain, camp down here on this, you know, grassy bald, pick blueberries, whatnot. But yeah, let's see what the next mountain we're doing is. It is Tennant Mountain. Yeah, so we're currently at 5,700 feet, and we're gonna go up a little more gradually than we have, up to Tennant Mountain, which is at 6,057 feet. So came down the mountain, started back on the Art Loeb Trail, and ran into two different groups of people. One, a couple of dudes, and you know, they gave me a couple tips, and another one, a couple of ladies that had camped overnight, and they were actually looking for tips for me. They looked at my stuff and said, man, you got 4 days worth in your pack? And they said their packs were 35 pounds a piece, and they were here for 2 days. Yeah, they were doing like an overnight, so a 2-day trip, and I was doing a 4-day trip, 3 nights, and they were just flabbergasted how we were about the same. Yeah, they said that there's a good water source. They were able to like actually wash up and everything in it. I'm gonna load up with water because I'm not gonna have it for a hot minute. But yeah, it is definitely clouding up. You know, you can see some weather moving in. Feels definitely like it's dropped probably 5 or 10 degrees, but it is definitely cooled off, which I don't mind, but I'd prefer not to get rained on if it's possible. Yeah, okay, there's the Art Loeb Trail. Yeah, no shit, difficult AF, but they said if you break right from it on the Avester Trail, there's actually a PVC pipe where a natural spring is coming out of. So let's look for that. Passed a couple with their kids out for a hike. Glad to see people are out in nature, and they let me know that the spring is up here. I see water. I see also lots of mosquitoes and gnats, but whatever. Heck yeah. Water AF. I've had Giardia once, don't want it again. And if a 5-minute little detour to filter some water saves me from that again. It was due to my own error. Dirty water all over my hands and stuff, and fiddling around with the clean end of my filter. I was actually using a Grail, and you know, not being conscious as to what my dirty hands were doing. But Giardia is no fun. It was the catalyst to help me stop drinking, though. I've been sober since April 17th, 2021. Over 2 years now. Pretty proud of myself on that. It was a struggle. But I got Giardia, and they put me on the medications for it. A couple of different things, and one of them had a big disclaimer not to consume alcohol. Very, very bad for whatever that medicine was. I forget now what they were. I know I was on ivermectin. Ooh, ivermectin. And I was on another, I think it was an anti-parasite that said, you know, do not consume alcohol. And about 5 days worth of pure living hell dealing with the Giardia. And, you know, I figured that's actually was the longest I had been without alcohol in a very, very, very long time. You know, close to, actually probably a decade. And I figured if, you know, I'd went 5 days, even though it was a struggle with Giardia, I might as well just try to not drink anymore, you know, or see how long it really started out to see how long I could go, see if I could make it to 30 days, you know. And 30 days came, and, you know, I still wanted to drink. I still want to drink now. But I didn't. And I kept going, and 30 turned into 60, 90. You know, it just kind of turned out that my whole life got better without drinking, you know. The only changes that happened were good. So I just figured, why not? And from that point, I was sitting at around 265 pounds. You know, big old beast. But, you know, drinking 3 cases of beer a week will do that to you. And from that point until now, I've lost around 44 pounds. But yeah, quitting drinking is the one thing that I'm glad I did, especially for my outdoor experience. You know, not only have I shed 40 plus pounds, which now every time I put on a heavy pack like this one, you know, this pack is 38 pounds. You know, I put that on and I'm like, that's what I used to carry around just naturally. So I'm glad. Sounds like it's about to rain now. So we'll catch up with you guys later. A little bit of an update for you guys. It is actively raining. About to summit Tennant Mountain. Don't think I'm going to do too much recording up there. Probably going to get a little hairy. All the thunder's been off in the distance. Not too worried about rain. Really just, you know, slipping and stuff. But it's wet and wild out here. But, you know, as the experts say, if it ain't raining, we ain't training. Let's get after it. Yeah, that might have been one of the more sketchy things I've ever done, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Tennant Mountain there. That was sketchy. There was you know, it was raining, you know, just not a downpour, but, you know, a steady rain. And I was like, you know, I got this, you know, embrace the suck kind of thing. And within 200-300 yards of the peak, it started thundering. And I was like, you know, it sounds in the distance, you know, it doesn't sound like it's, you know, within 5 miles. And then it got within 5 miles. So that was fun. I'm gonna take a little spot break here since it's not actively raining. Kick my shoes off. They are soaked. Yeah. Still a couple rumbles off in the distance. But it was pretty sketch on top of that mountain. I'm not far off of it, you know. But I'm in between Black Balsam and Tennant Mountain. Black Balsam will be the highest peak that I do this whole trip. I want to say 6,200 foot of elevation. Bring my socks out real quick. Yeah, that's what I was listening to. Just that cloud to cloud, you know, good stuff. I don't wear waterproof boots because if it's raining, your boots are going to get wet, whether they're waterproof or not. Waterproof boots are good for splashing around in puddles, you know, not active rain. You know, if it's actively raining, you're getting wet. You know, that's also why I don't bring like rain gear top and bottom. I just wear a poncho because I don't care how good your rain gear is, you know, you're gonna get wet. I bring, you know, the poncho type rain gear instead of, well, one, because, you know, I was in the military and I know a poncho, but two, because you're gonna get wet regardless. All a poncho is doing is really just kind of protecting you from the bulk of it. You know, you're gonna get drips and drops in all over the place, just like with your shoes. You know, you hike in the rain long enough, you're gonna get wet. I am gonna pull out a little something to eat. It is currently 1:40. You know, good bit past lunch, but I get something to eat while it's not actively raining. I got a Pedialyte ready to go. I'll put that in my bottle because I filled up probably close to 3 liters in my water bladder, and I filled up my liter bottle at that last water site. That's where it actually started to rain. Somebody, a nice young lady, politely recommended that maybe I should post up for an hour or two because a cell was coming through, which I already knew. I had checked the weather and knew I was gonna walk right through it pretty much, but you know, dumb. But I'm gonna eat this up and catch you guys in a little bit and see how everything's going. Finished up my snack, got everything. I'm not leaving anything, so I'm looking at the weather, mostly looking at that cloud. Most of the bad weather has moved on past that way. The couple of cells there are, that all of that is moving this way, so I'm going to be moving into the clear. The Weather Channel had a little rain coming up around 3, which it's currently 2. From about 4 on, it's going to rain. Between 4 and 5, you know, like yellow rain, like moderate to heavy, which what I've been in so far has only been light. Yeah, there is thunder all around me. I think drop dead time is going to be 4 o'clock because starting at 5 o'clock there's severe weather coming in, so I want to have my tent set up and camp made by then, which means I've got 2 hours to get about as far as I can. It's not going to be as much as I wanted to today because of the weather. Even though the hiking's been easier, the weather's cutting it short. Hopefully tomorrow, not as much weather, and I will be able to beat defeat. But, you know, Mother Nature do what she do, and I just got to deal with it. It looked like today was going to be the worst weather, like actual storms. Well, there she is. Black Balsam Knob. Let's get to it. Just made it down Black Balsam. It was actually a whole lot easier than I thought. I thought there was a chance that I might have to, you know, camp like right at Black Balsam. It's 3 o'clock on the dot right now, so I got about an hour before bad weather rolls back in, and then another hour before it turns to actual bad weather. So I'm getting it done. This is the part where the Art Loeb Trail actually meets the Mountain to Sea Trail. It's flipping gorgeous in here. But it is just really nice in here. I'm half tempted to just set up camp in here. Like very, you know, perfect flat spots and everything. Let's see what the Art Loeb Trail guide says. What's coming up? Says there's a water source right around the corner here. Let's go check that out. It also says there's a privy, which I'm not quite sure all that a privy involves. I'm sure it's, you know, the equivalent of an outhouse. Hopefully the water source isn't near the privy. Yeah, let's see what's around the corner here. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I know there's a hardball road here that I just crossed. I'm going to go back to it. It says there's a water source to the left and a privy a little farther up. And there's a parking area, even though it looks like there's parking just on the roadside here. But let's do a little road walk and see what's around the corner. Let's not get killed though. If there's good water here and a privy, I may just post up in those balsams. You can see as I turn this corner here, some of that weather that's rolling in. I am definitely going to be posting up. Wanted to get across the Blue Ridge Parkway, but I think it's just a good idea to, since I know there's plenty of area to camp, don't even necessarily need a campsite where that was. With that weather rolling in, call it when you can see it. And tomorrow's weather is supposed to be a lot nicer, but here in a little while, this dark stuff is going to roll right over this area, and it is actually slated to be severe weather. So I'd like to be in a tent then. But yeah, I'm going to turn it off. There's lots of people here. I don't really want to film people on my channel. That's why I didn't film too much on Black Balsam, because there was there's a whole like wedding party up there doing a photo shoot, and like I said, I linked up with this family that you know, was coming down, and we were pretty much, you know, side by side for a while, so you know, I didn't really want to film them. So the preview was a bust. Definitely wasn't going to film that. No running water, no trash service. All it was you know, a seat over a hole in the ground. And people have not been the nicest to them, to say the least. I'm feeding back to that balsam flat area. We camped there for the night. I did find a water source on the side of the road, actually flowing, actually like right here where that big old pothole is. It's probably what is washing it out. But I get some water and head back to camp. Well, head back and pitch camp. Well, guys. As you can see, I'm in my tent. It's been an exciting 45 minutes. So I started coming back from the water source, which, you know, was good. You know, I started filling, you know, I wasn't recording that. You guys have seen me fill up water. And, you know, started coming back up the hardball road, and it started raining. Cats and dogs. I got into the woods here where all these balsams, you know, kind of protect the area. I mean, you know, it softens the rain, you know, coming down, but all that rain is still coming down. And it was just raining. It was raining hard. All I could think of was the scene, a great scene from Jumanji, where it just starts to rain. And I forget her name. I forget the actress's name, but she looks at Robin Williams and says, you know, a little rain never killed anybody. And he pulls the hood up over his head and he's like, yeah, but a lot of rain can, you know, because it was it's, you know, the monsoons of Jumanji, you know, and, you know, it turns into a torrent river and everything. Just a great scene, and that's all I could think of. I would highly recommend, if you can, find a tent that has a fly first design, meaning you can set up the waterproof shell first and then put up the inner part, you know, whether it's mesh and, you know, bathtub floor, this, that, the other. Found a spot that it looked like it kind of had, you know, the ground kind of crested a little, you know, and I could set my tent up on it. And it was just coming down, and not for having a fly first design, this whole tent, and I mean, all my stuff's waterproof, but trying to get the tent put together, my whole tent would have just been saturated. The rain's really slacked off now, and I'm sure you can hear it. You know, I have you in the corner of the tent. You know, I'm sure these drops are loud as crap on camera. Sheltered for the night. You know, it's supposed to get pretty wild around 5, 6, and 7, and rain for a good portion of the night. Not quite ready to eat yet. Don't necessarily want my hot chocolate yet either. Might just sit here and drink some water and relax, just stretch out, you know. I had to call it early today because of the weather, so you know, I'll have more time to relax tonight, and we'll just, you know, chill, and if anything cool happens, I'll bring you back.